All right, it's been a while. I'm going to try to keep this short. Maybe. Shit, I don't have a timer. Try to keep it at 20 minutes because the algorithm shows me that long videos do not hold retention at all. People like videos short. Very short. Sometimes only 5 minutes. And that is all. I'm out. Just kidding. So, I know I haven't uploaded in a while. Not much has been going on because, I'm a chronic pain patient. I'm disabled. It's hard to get things done. But what I've ran into recently, apparently I need to make this clear to some people who come to my channel. I tried to make it very clear when I made the video about the guy who was talking about the 1% increase in taxes. Like, I was not trying to talk about politics. I was just simply saying, look, man, you got a roof over your head, you got food on your table, you got utilities, you got a car, you got all these things going for you, and if your biggest concern in life is taxes, you got it pretty good. I wish the biggest concern in my life was paying taxes. That is not the biggest concern in my life. The biggest, right now, a very, very worrisome concern enough to make you want to pull your hair out and have panic attacks every night. For real. And, it was funny, the comment about the, government coming in and taking all of my stuff. I don't think that's how I'm going to lose my stuff. I could lose my stuff by just simply becoming homeless because, just being able to obtain money to pay taxes with this disability seems to be quite a task in and of itself, whether that be disability or whether that be a job. I don't know. Both seem kind of out of reach. Fucked up. Real fucked up. But I guess if it hasn't been made clear, I don't really have a lot of faith in really any kind of system. I don't really have faith in democracies, especially direct democracies. I don't really have faith in republics. I don't have faith in bowing before a king. I don't have faith in theocracies. I don't have faith in oligarchies or plutocracies or aristocracies. I really hate those things, actually, and monarchies and, the theocracy thing, and really hate those. I don't have any faith in fascism. I really fucking hate that. I wish that would just poof and magic itself off the planet. I don't really have faith in communism. I don't have faith in socialism. I don't have faith in capitalism. I don't think that there is anything out there that can meet the demands of the entirety of the population of a whole civilization of people. I don't think it works. I don't think you can. I think it's all fucked. It's all corrupted. I think human nature sort of dictates that to some degree and extent. I think human beings are ravaged, savage animals, and I wish they would hurry up and evolve and mature and grow up and stop doing that. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. I talked to a woman from Russia once, and she said something to me that I just could not have agreed with more. So I asked her. She was much older than me, and you know, she had talked to her grandmother. So she has information about Lenin's communism, anarchy, whatever the fuck you want to call that shit. I don't know. People interpret that different ways. Oh, Lenin was a good one, but Stalin, and then, you know, Mussolini, Adolf Hitler, and Francisco Franco fascism, Republican Democrat with the republics of the Western nation and all that. And she said this to me. She said, I think it's all the same. It's just assholes competing for power. And I said, yeah, you know what? That's pretty much the same ballpark. Fuck. Okay. Had a little hiccup there because of cheap camera holding equipment. Can't do anything about it. I don't have any money. But what the Russian woman was saying, yeah, I totally agree. I think that about sums it up. It's just assholes competing for power. And unless we get rid of bowing before anything, I mean, I don't know that I have anything against necessarily having a hall of representatives like a Congress or a Senate or something like that. But I think as long as we have a president, a king, a queen, a god, you know, like no gods, no king, no country, no rulers, bow before no one. Unless you get that, I don't know that we're really ever truly going to feel free. I think, honestly, you should be able to do whatever you want other than murder, molest, and then in parentheses, animals and children and dead bodies. For some reason, I have to do that. I think that would be pretty self-explanatory, but, you know, people are pretty fucked up. And don't do battery or assault, you know, basically a no violence clause. I mean, I guess if you want to, you know, if people are like, I want to battle to the death, or something like that. Well, I mean, you know, if it's all consensual and you realize this could end in the termination of your life, sure, go ahead, battle to death, see if I give a fuck. But I think that that's a product of the stupidity of humankind. I don't know why you would do such a thing, but hey. And the misdemeanor of it all, that is purely consequential, kind of depends on the circumstance. I mean, things can be replaced, repaid, whatever, but I don't think you should steal or destroy other people's stuff. I used to say private property, but that insinuates that I have some kind of respect for corporations, and I do not. When I say don't steal or destroy people's stuff, instead of saying private property, I've now changed to saying and individuals, no, what is it? Personal property or something. Something that does not imply that I have respect for corporations or think that they should hold on to the mass amounts of resources that they do. I do not think they should. I don't give a shit about them. I don't care. And if you have a problem with that, I want you to understand, little old me having this position is not going to change our system. It's just how I perceive things. I have no respect for them. If you do, great, fantastic. Me not respecting these big corporations and big businesses and stuff does not mean you're going to walk outside one day and they're all just going to explode. That's not how reality works. That's not how things work. That's just not how it works, period, in general. So I don't know why you're even worried about it. We're just not going to see things the same way. I just don't respect them. I don't. I think they're greedy, they're horrible, and on and on. And if I keep talking about it, I'm going to run out of time. I'm not religious. You know, I know I look pretty fucking weird and stuff. And you know what? I like being fucking weird. I like being strange. I enjoy it. I like it. So that's that. I'm not religious. I don't believe in God. I don't think there's anything after death. I think you just die and that's it. It's desist of consciousness. That thought used to make me uncomfortable as I become a chronic pain patient, faced with the idea of living for possibly another like 40 some odd years, like maybe 40 years. I don't know if I'll live that long, but that's a long time to live in pain 24/7. And it's I've asked both my grandmothers on both sides of my family what they think about the idea of living forever, and they've both responded to me that sounds exhausting. And not just physically exhausting, like mentally and emotionally just exhausting. And I have a little bit more understanding of that now. It's like, yeah, it really kind of does sound exhausting. And if there is an eternal afterlife somewhere at some point, I would have to wonder, doesn't heaven become hell after a certain point? Because if you're tired of existing and you can't leave, oh no, oh shit, fuck, what do? Can you leave? Can you opt to leave? Can you opt to stop existing if an afterlife exists? Can you say, I'm done with this? Like, I'm just so bored that nothing moves me anymore? Can I leave? Is that a possibility? Can you choose to stop existing and desist your consciousness and say, I'm worn out, I'm exhausted, I'm done, I need to desist from existing? I don't know. If the theist people, I don't care what kind of theist if they're right, I hope so, because that seems like something that might be a possibility. I don't know. I don't know everything. I have a lot of other contentions with Christianity itself, but we don't have time to get into that. I wanted to talk about also a subject that has come up quite frequently. I've kept meaning to make the Ben Shapiro side, like all these right-wing YouTubers, and yes, the left wing does it too. But the thing that I really have been wanting to talk about is something called Profilicity. So I'm just gonna shorten it down as much as possible. Basically, all these YouTubers that people are flocking around, and it's political ideology has reached a state of being dogmatic, and I'm actually kind of really irritated at the skeptic and atheist community because they're supposed to attack dogma. Even if it's dogmatic atheism, they're supposed to attack that. And they haven't been attacking this growing state of dogmatic politicism, something I called at one point ideologicalism. And this is what Ben Shapiro does. It's what Jordan Peterson, and Matt Walsh, that fucking shithead too. They're all doing this, okay? So what's occurring is they're creating a profile that's supposed to proliferate around the internet, because what you're doing is you're engaging in a viewership economy. You're competing for views. So they build a brand, and what that brand is designed to do is that they're making that brand so that they can sell it to people. And ultimately what that brand is an identity. And these people have reached a state where I swear they can do no wrong. They can say nothing wrong. They can do no wrong. They could shoot a baby on live television and every one of their followers would rationalize it somehow. That's where we're at. I mean, it's just cult herd behavior. It's annoying because you can't get anyone to look at really any kind of issue without removing layers upon layers upon layers of steel molted bulletproof shielding of bias to even get them to look at the core issue and acknowledge, for one, they don't know everything. Two, we don't know the results of everything. And three, they may be wrong. And four, what is the practical solution to that? Like outside of the ideological sphere of whatever dead political philosopher told you to think, given the time frame that we live in, the limitations that we have, the things available to us, the things around us in the current given model that we live in today, and what is capable, what is possible, what can we do? What can we do? What are the options on the table? Getting people to look at that is almost impossible. It's impossible. It really is. I mean, I could go on a tangent about how that just weasels its little tentacles into every little fucking thing. And you end up with somebody arguing the political philosophy of somebody who's been dead for like 200 years or more and trying to apply that person's political philosophy to something that exists today that would be so far beyond their grasp, they would literally not even be able to imagine it. Like the internet, for example. Any of our political philosophers that have created the mainstay political philosophies that we run off of today, like democracy, republic, libertarianism, even with Ayn Rand, or why is his name Thomas Jefferson, or the people who made this country, you know, like Benjamin Franklin and George Washington, or like John Locke or Karl Marx or something like that. Like, how would you even go about explaining to them, like, how do we get the rules of the Constitution to apply to the internet? There would be so many questions from there. And every time you would answer them, they would be even more baffled and more puzzled, and they would keep asking questions until I think that they'd probably just give up and think you were a lunatic. Well, they'd probably just think you were a lunatic, let alone even describing telephones and how they work today. And do our constitutional rights apply to that? This is all it gets complicated quick. But, you know, we have to go off of a political philosophy of somebody who was alive before any of that was even invented and died before it was even a dream. Also, I have ran into, before I get into that, but fuck Ben Shapiro, fuck Matt Walsh, and fuck Jordan Peterson. And Jordan Peterson, he loves to use jibe, jargon, all this fancy stuff. Oh, it's too smart for you to understand. Bitch, I read your book. I read Jordan Peterson's book. I read both of them, actually. Both of them. the first two that he published. I read them. I understood them. Let me give you like a rundown, because I understood what it said, but the thing is like this is the ramblings of a madman. I literally think Jordan Peterson has a mood disorder. I think he has like psychosis or something. Massive mania outbursts. So basically the gist of it is this. There are stars in the sky, and you can connect the dots, kind of like how we do with astrological signs. only with him, you can connect the dots and make geometric patterns. And the geometric patterns and psychology exist, so therefore God. And that's the answer to everything, your psychological ailments and all your life's problems. And that's why you should believe in God, as geometric patterns in the fucking sky. No, I understood it. That's basically, I mean, that is a very, very, very basic short rundown of the nonsense of what I read. And that is what it reads to be. And I mean, if you believe in that, you're entitled to believe whatever you want, but don't come at me saying that this is like ingenious. And it's like, no, it's not. That's, you can believe in it if you want. I'm not, stay away from me actually, because you're not weird like me. Somebody who's like, I'm weird, but I know I'm being weird and I'm doing it on purpose. You're being weird, and you don't even realize just how weird and psychotic you seem. So, I'm good. I ran into this guy. I've been watching these YouTube videos, these old, well, they're not old actually. The newer atheists doing the atheist-theist debates, like Matt Dillahunty, Arn Raw. There's not very many these days, honestly, that actually go out and do debates. I ran into this guy that Matt Dillahunty wouldn't do anything with, and there's a very good reason why, because his name is Andrew Wilson. And he's a bitch. He's a fucking asshole. Definitely sounds like somebody who's just promoting a fucking theocratic state. And he loves to do this in his debates. Like if he was sitting in front of me right now, he'd be like, that's not what I said. I said this. And it would basically be something close to a theocratic state, but a little bit off. And I'd be like, okay, so you support X. No, I don't support X. Why can't you get this right? I support Y. Okay, so you support Y. No, I don't support Y. I don't. That's how he debates. Constantly shifting the goalpost. Forever and ever and ever and ever. It's gotten to the point where I can predict it. When I watch him debate, I'm like, he's going to shift the goalpost. And then he does it. And I'm like, man. Tons of fallacies. Even worse, he calls his opponents out for fallacies, and he can define them. It's quite clear he's read theory. He knows what logic and critical thinking is. He knows what philosophy is. He knows what debate is supposed to be, but he's not doing it. And so I really don't blame Matt Dillahunty for getting up and walking out on him, because if you're looking for the symposium and you sit down at the Coliseum, you're going to get up and leave the Coliseum and go and look for the symposium. I mean, what the fuck? This shit that people are calling debate is not debate. And I mean, it's really sad, because when a debate occurs, the audience is supposed to go in there clear-minded, undecided. But what happens is the people who come in to see Aaron Wilson, they're already decided. Their mind's already made up. They already side with this Aaron, or wait, is his name Aaron or Andrew? Andrew Wilson. They've already sided with Andrew. The people that came there to see him. The people that came to see his opponent, like let's say it's Vosh, People come to see Vosh, they're already decided. So what are they there for? Well, the people who are there to see Andrew are there to see Andrew own Vosh, and then there'll be little snippets around the internet of like 10 times Andrew Wilson laid the smackdown on Vosh, pure ponage, blah, 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 blah. And the people who come to see Vosh, well, they've already sided with Vosh, so what are they there for? Well, they're there to see Vosh own Andrew, and then make a bunch of videos of like the blah 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 times that Vosh like owned ponage, smack, blah 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 Andrew. And that's not debate. That's just fandom and verbal arguing. I mean, it's just fucking drama. It's just a more sophisticated form of drama that is not fucking philosophy. That is not philosophy. That is not debate. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. It's like nails on a chalkboard. But I fucking hate this Andrew Wilson guy. He's such a fucking asshole. His beliefs are fucking out of this world. They're crazy. They're bizarre. I just think the type of world he wants to live in is it's almost like he thinks he can produce utopia. I don't think anybody can produce utopia. If we lived in a Christian theocracy, if you killed all the gay people alive, all the gay and trans people alive today, made it illegal, blah, 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 whatever, and you use which appeal to tradition, that's a fucking fallacy. Oh, well, when we did it in the past, when we lived in theocracy and like the fucking did you know that there's a reason they call it the medieval ages? There's a reason they call it that, or the dark ages. There's a reason that actually has a more correct historical name for that time period. It's not the dark ages. People just call it that because it was really fucked up. And during that time frame, 3/4 of the world's population died. Human beings almost did not survive what we're calling the middle or the dark ages. We almost didn't make it out of that time period alive. And there was mass murder and rape everywhere. Your life expectancy was dog shit. I mean, just pure dog shit. If disease or bubonic plague didn't fucking kill you, or a cut on your finger, you were liable to get murdered before you even turned 25. And to say gay people didn't exist back then, yes, they did. What do you mean? Yes, they did. What do you think that time period was like? I guarantee you it's not what people... I've read historical documents about it, like people looking through court dockets during that period of time, which court back then worked very, very differently. They weren't really interested. They didn't have a word like gay or homosexual back then, or even trans or anything like that. They eventually, I think around the Victorian age, the word buggery came to be. Sodomite was used, but here's the trouble: is that when they use the word sodomite, it doesn't just refer to gay people. This could be any sexual act that is done without the sole purpose of reproduction. So who knows what the fuck they're referring to? Who fucking knows? They didn't even use the F word bundle of sticks or for cigarette that I can't even use even as a gay man for some fucking weird reason on YouTube, even though everybody else can. I have seen right-wingers use that fucking word derogatorily and they don't get in trouble. Their videos don't get taken down. I have seen other gay YouTubers that would align more like me. Well, I don't know. I'm pretty far fucking left. I'm basically a political nihilist. We used to call that anarchist until the progressives and other weird sort of authoritarian leftists took over that term. But I've seen other gay people that would align more towards my side, maybe not all the way, but be more Democrat or left leaning, and they've used that word and they don't get in trouble. I used it in reference to something that a CEO of a company that makes alcohol that made a rainbow color once upon a time to advertise specifically at gay pride events, who said, how can we advertise to them, and then use that word. So I was directly quoting, and that, these companies were basically using their allyship with gay people just so they could advertise to the LGBTQ community. Basically, they didn't give a crap. They didn't give a shit about the LGBTQ community. They don't care about us. They just wanted our fucking money. And that shouldn't be shocking. That shouldn't be fucking surprising. No shit. Anyway, gay people existed back then, and the church really wasn't concerned if you did that or not. Like, people back then knew gay people existed. They didn't have that word, but they knew that they were there. They were a thing. They exist. I don't think they really cared or thought about it as much as people today do. They didn't really even have a word for it. Like, not really. And the church was really more interested in it if you accepted them as the ultimate word or interpretation of God, and their authority of God, than they were what sin you were committing. They didn't care about that. The only time it really shows up in court dockets is if you did renounce the church in an act of heresy or blasphemy, or demeaned like the Catholic, the Orthodox, or at one point, I don't think the Protestants cared about that issue as much, but in that instance, like, let's say you did engage in sodomy or a homosexual act, mostly what they were mad at is that you basically condemned the church, like that was a big no-no. And they might sprinkle the sodomy charge on top just as an extra delight, but we don't really see court dockets that show just, oh, you had sex with another man, fuck you. They're really not that prevalent. They're very rare. And we know that gay people exist. I mean, like, fuck, like, one of the kings of France was fucking gay, and there's been, I think, a couple kings of Britain that have been gay. They just, I don't think they cared as much as some of these theocrats think they did. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know. But it was great. This Andrew Wilson guy was saying, oh no, our population went back when it was 7 billion. He was freaking out. Our population's gonna free fall. Saying there was all this data to support it, and it was even going to happen within the year. Well, never mind that at the time, 7 billion was a world record, world population, and that the trend was actually showing that it was going up, which his opponent was arguing. He was like, that's what the data I have shows. Your data suggests something different, and I don't know where you got it. And guess what? Now we have like 8.9 billion people as the world population. We're almost at 9 billion fucking people. So it just seems like every year, the world record for the world's population just keeps growing. So, yeah, Andrew Wilson can be proved wrong and right to his face. Like, look at this debate you had with this person where you said the population was going to decline, and what population size you said it was going to be. Here's what it is today. Interesting. Very interesting. I don't like him. I don't like him at all. And I wish I could go through like all the weird fallacies and the bullshit that he pulls, but I don't have time for that. I do have time to say this about Ben Shapiro. I have watched him go over like these random TikTokers he found that do not debate professionally at all. Talk about, like various arguments or talking points that atheists have given in the past as to why God doesn't exist. And I've literally watched Ben Shapiro be like, well, the Bible says this, so I'm right and you're wrong. Score 1 point for me and none for you. And I'm like, and people believe this shit. People just eat this up. You're, of course, Ben. Yeah, you're right because you said so. Obviously. Of course. Why the fuck not? Yeah. So that's I gotta call it off because if it gets any longer, then you guys your attention just starts to go down. And I've talked about many different subjects in this video, so yeah. I want to make videos more often. I do. But with that, I'm going to have to say like, share, subscribe, comment. Oh, and I do not make money off of this YouTube channel, so all the Voshites that came to my channel to bitch me out because I made a video about a bad argument in his comment section, and I had to give context by talking about the context of the situation dealing with Vosh. I did not do it for clout. That would be pointless. I don't make money off of this fucking channel. I don't even have a Patreon. What the fuck are you talking about? Ugh. Stupid. But anyway, like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'm sure I'll get lots of people that are like, I want to challenge everything you said or something you said tooth and nail. And with that, I am out. I'm out. Have a good night. Have a good day, whatever it is for you. Peace and love.
Wow.